Hi, my name is Dave McCreary from Altruist Training, and I'm going to go through the PRINCE2 principles. Very important part of learning PRINCE2 is to understand that the principles around PRINCE2 is what make a project a PRINCE2 project. This is one part of an 18-part PRINCE2 Foundation course that's available online if you want to subscribe to it, or in class. If you drop me an email, I can let you know when our classes are on. Okay, so the first thing is, what is a project? PRINCE2 defines that project as a temporary organization that's created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products according to a business case. So it differs from business as usual. And the reason we created it in the first place is that we want to make it more dynamic, take a smaller part of the business and actually do something specific. So the first thing is it instigates change. It's not business as usual. Something has to change. There's a new thing we brought into the organization, a new way of doing things. Also, it's temporary, so it has a beginning and an end, and we have to have a finite point that the project is over and the project organization will disband. It's cross-functional, so it's not just within one team or one area. We're bringing together lots of disparate parts of the organization to create and to deliver one set of business products. And all projects are unique. That is, they haven't been done before, because if they had been done before, we'd know exactly how to do it. So they're different. It may be that producing the same, or might be implementing the same software product, for example, in a different organization, but it's unique because we have different people. And there's uncertainty. We're not sure exactly how perhaps people react to the project. We're not sure exactly what the interfaces between different systems will work out like. So every project, there's uncertainty built into that, and we have to deal with that uncertainty. Okay, important to know the difference between a project and a program. Projects are finite, has an end. It's an end date that we can hopefully set out early in the project, but it's finite. Whereas a program, it could go on. There's no definite path that defines dates in it. Projects are about delivery of products, and it's a very important concept to get across that PRINCE2 is very good at doing, is that we're actually delivering products, and products have definitions, bounds, we know what they are. Whereas a program is about coordinating stuff. It's bringing things together. So not definitely delivering benefits. They're just trying to get the projects working out better, I suppose. And a project is a shorter time scale. It's hard to put a definitive size or a time scale on a project, but 1 or 2 years would be pretty typical. Likewise, they could be a few months. A program, yeah, some of them can go on forever. Okay, some aspects of a project that are really, really important. There's just 6 aspects here that we can define. Is costs. Okay, so the project has a cost. It's time scale, so that's a period that it runs over. Quality, so specific features of the deliverables that we want to have a look at. Scope, knows what does it cover, what areas does it cover. Risk, how much risk is going to be involved in the project, how do we manage it, etc. And benefits. And for each of those 6 areas, PRINCE2 defines tolerances. And that is to say that there are bounds that we must keep within. There are bounds that we must watch to make sure, for example, within costs or within timescales, we meet certain quality criteria, etc. So we'll go into that later on in the project, where we touch on each of these in quite a bit of detail in the training. So getting back to what PRINCE2 is. PRINCE2 is a methodology that's developed in the UK as part of local government, our central government, and it provides a set of procedures and themes that can be applied and controlled within a project. It's really there to improve the management, control and accuracy around the projects, to making them more dependable. And I suppose what PRINCE2 doesn't do, if you've studied a bit of PMI is very much so around the skills, the techniques, and the tools. PRINCE2 is much more of a methodology. It's how are we going to do this? How are we going to go ahead? So the actual broader management skills are not covered in PRINCE2. They might be touched on and discussed here and there, but they're not a core part of it. We don't have templates within it that are used, but you can find them out there on the internet. They're quite useful. And again, if you want to drop me an email, I have plenty of templates available. And it doesn't really say a framework for how it's to be used within the organization or how all the processes are to be used. Okay, so getting back on track here. PRINCE2 has 4 integrated elements. The principles we're going to do today, and we're going to go through those. So as I said before, if you don't follow the principles around PRINCE2, it's not a PRINCE2 project. The themes are the area within project management that must be addressed throughout the project. That's, you know, again, it's around quality, etc., things like that. And the processes, which is really how the project is held together with a set of defined processes that go through the project, that what you have to do at certain points and what the responsibilities of those are as you go through. And finally, tailoring, the acknowledgement within PRINCE2 that for your organization, you might want to tailor how you use PRINCE2, and it's pretty common. I think all organizations have tailored it to a certain extent, but thinking back again, at the core is the principle. So if you're not following the principles of PRINCE2, which we're going to go through now, then it's not a PRINCE2 project. Okay, so our 7 principles. Okay, I'll go into each one of these in detail, but it's continued business justification. Okay, so all the time the project must have a business justification. We must learn from experience. We must have defined roles and responsibilities. Okay, we must manage by stages, which is an interesting area that we'll talk a little bit about. Not doing the whole project at the whole stage, it might be better to do it in parts. Manage by exception, another important area to look at, and we focus on products. And finally, that we can tailor the project to suit the particular project environment. Okay, so continued business justification. A PRINCE2 project must have a valid business case. So before we start a PRINCE2 project, we must go out there and see what is the deliverable of the project, what benefits is that going to deliver. And it's not just at the beginning, but we must continually look back and see, yes, is this going to deliver the benefits that we expected to get, and are those benefits bigger than the costs and the risks of doing the project? Again, as I said, not just the beginning, but as we go through the project, to go look back and do it again. Are we still on track? Because as we know, with uncertainty, we might realize there have been additional costs within it, or we might actually realize that the benefits that we thought we were going to get from it are no longer there, or they're not valid, a new technology has outstripped it, or we're just not going to get there. So it's continually looking at that, saying, yeah, the costs, the risks, and the timescales, is that more than the benefits? If it is more than the benefits, then look, forget it. It's not going to deliver for us. So yes, if it changes, we have to stop the project. It's not worth doing. We're not going to deliver the benefits, and we just put that back into our lessons learning and realize, okay, we've gone far enough with this project. It's not worth continuing doing. That is simpler than you think, because clearly, if you've spent a significant amount of money getting this far, you might realize that it's worth keeping going because you've already spent that money. But the real principle here is keeping a focus on that all the time, watching it, seeing it, and if the project is moving away from delivering those benefits, okay, get back on track and make sure we are actually delivering on those benefits. We're not going off doing things that don't contribute to the benefits of the project. So it's a continued business justification. Learn from experience. Okay, so this is key. Every time you do something in your next project, you need to bring that information back in. You need to reuse it. You need to log your lessons. As you go through your project, you need to share those lessons, bring it back in, change your practice, tailor the business, and go through again. So, you know, in the ideal situation, you're able to have a look at lessons learned before you start your project, use that so that you have a head start on your project, and as you go through, relearn, bring it back into the organization. Defined roles and responsibilities. I mean, this is key. It's really important that we have everybody within the organization within the project organization has defined areas. We know what they're doing. We go into this in much more detail in later parts of the course, but we know what the escalation is. People know the responsibilities, and we don't have issues or items left out there without a proper log on those. So clear levels of responsibilities. This is a key principle of PRINCE2. Okay, management by stages is another clear area. So what we need to do is set out a stage, do a certain amount of that work, stop, talk to the senior management, make sure we're still on track, make sure that the principles that we've brought up to so far, we're still going to get there, decide whether or not to go on to the next stage of the project, or change perhaps some of how you do it, perhaps bring in some of your lessons learned, go back onto the next stage and get in there. And generally a stage is less than 3 months long. I think if you're thinking agile, which is a buzzword that's out there at the moment, you might understand that they look at a 1 month project. But PRINCE2 defines it around 3 months. It could be shorter, but I wouldn't be pushing it out much longer. So we go through those stages, we see what we've got, what we've achieved at that particular stage, and we decide whether we need to go on to the next stage. And remember that that's not phases. We could also have phases, but it's stages with defined deliverables for each of those stages. Management by exception. Okay, so for your project manager within a project is a senior person, and they are given a certain level of tolerances for which to go ahead with the project. And they should not need to go back up to senior management to ask for assistance or to have a chat with them about it. They should be certain tolerances set. And so what happens there is the project manager is allowed to go off, get what he needs to get done within those tolerances. And it's only when those tolerances are threatened or look like they're going to be breached that they need to go back up to senior management and say, hang on a second here, I need some help here, I need to change things. Basically, I need to create an exception. It's key because it allows senior management to have a clear understanding of their role, but it also ensures that your project manager is really managing. When there is an exception, the project board will go back, have a look at the project, have a look at what goes on, and decide based on the time, cost, quality, and all the other balances in the project, what we should do about it. And I'll talk a little bit later in the organization area about what the project board's role is within it. Okay, focus on product. And another great PRINCE2 concept here is that we're not just focusing on the individual aspects of the work, but we have products. And by products, we mean that they are deliverables that have measurable size, measurable features that we can say, right, okay, when it's done, we know that it has these certain features. And it's really getting back to, are we delivering what is required? If we have a very tight understanding of what the requirement is, we can document that in a product, say, these are the features, and we can look back and say, right, I have delivered what the features or what that product is. For example, in software, it might be harder, it might be not natural to define what a product is, but it's extremely useful, and it's a really good PRINCE2 principle, is getting down to the detail of what exactly is the products of the project, and embodying the product-based learning techniques and plans within the whole project is very, very important. So it's really, are we delivering what is required? And we're decreasing the chances of our user base going, well, that wasn't really what I wanted. We've defined what the products are, we know what they are, we've clearly identified them, we know what the parts of it is, so the users can be confident, and the project manager and project team can be confident that we're delivering what the project team, the user base requires. And it gets rid of things like scope creep, which is an issue for all projects. We're not delivering things that, well, the user doesn't actually require or need. And finally, tailoring, an important part of it. And I would say that tailoring is not really a pick and mix. We can take any parts of it. Not really. You can get yourself into trouble if you do that. So clearly, the principles always apply. If you're not following those principles, you've got an issue. Well, you're not really doing PRINCE2, I suppose that's the issue. And the themes and process can be adapted, but I think it's very important. You can't just decide not to do them. You can't just decide not to do quality. for example. So yeah, it can be tailored, but you need to take a sensible tailoring, and it really should be at an organizational level that the tailoring is decided and the bounds of the tailoring is decided. So in summary, project is a temporary organization there to deliver a certain business case. The principles, hopefully you can remember them, probably pop back over again to have a look at them again. The themes are aspects to be addressed continually, quality, risk, etc. The processes are the steps and within it that we can go to. I discussed what programs, projects and programs were. And it's a customer supplier environment, which I'll go into a little bit more detail when we move on to the themes and the processes. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Dave from Altris. We're a training organization based here in Ireland, and I'd be delighted to hear from you either in class to discuss these. Thank you.